audio-only version on our Telegram channel. I found out my husband has a twin brother, and they've been swapping lives. Now I don't know who I've been with. Hey Reddit, this is going to sound like a fever dream, but I swear it's my life. I'm writing this because I'm spiraling and I need to get this out before I lose it completely. I'm in Boston, USA, keeping this anonymous, no names, no specifics, but this is the unfiltered truth and it's horrifying. I'm splitting this into sections for readability and I'll update as I unravel this mess. If my husband, or whoever he is, sees this, I'm too far gone to care. Strap in, because this is beyond messed up. I'm a 29-year-old woman, living in a small apartment in Allston, Boston. I'm a graphic designer, freelancing for local bands and small businesses. Album covers, logos, that kind of thing. It's not big money, but I love the creative freedom, working from our cluttered living room with a view of the Charles River. My career was picking up, with a big contract to design merch for a local music festival. My husband, Ryan, 31, was my everything. We met 4 years ago at a dive bar in Cambridge. He was there with friends, charming the room with his quick wit and easy smile. Ryan's a bartender at a swanky cocktail bar downtown, mixing drinks and telling stories that keep customers coming back. He's got this boyish charm, all messy hair and warm eyes, but a steady presence that grounds me. We got married 2 years ago, a small ceremony at City Hall, and settled into our apartment. We'd fight sometimes, me over his late shifts, him over my tendency to leave dishes everywhere. But we always made up, laughing over cheap wine and pizza. My best friend, Sarah, 30, is a nurse at Mass General, a no-nonsense type who's been my rock since college. She loves Ryan, always saying he's too good to be true. My family's just my older sister, Emily, 33, a teacher in Somerville. She's protective, always checking in, and thought Ryan was perfect for me. Ryan's family was a mystery. He said he was an only child, raised by a single mom who passed when he was a teen. He didn't talk much about his past, but I never pushed. He seemed happy, and that was enough. Life was good, chaotic but good. Until last month, when a single phone call turned my world into a nightmare. It was a humid Sunday morning. I was sketching in the living room when Ryan's phone rang. He was in the shower, so I glanced at it. The caller ID said, "Mom." I froze. Ryan's mom was dead. He'd told me that years ago. I picked up, thinking it was a glitch or a scam. A woman's voice, shaky, said, "Ryan, it's me. I need to talk to you about Caleb." I stammered, saying he was unavailable. Who was this? She paused, then said, "I'm his mother, Ellen. Who are you?" My heart stopped. I mumbled I was his wife and hung up, my hands shaking. When Ryan got out of the shower, I confronted him. He went pale, tried to laugh it off, saying it must be a prank, but I wasn't buying it. I demanded the truth. He sighed, sat me down, and dropped a bomb. His mom wasn't dead. Ellen was alive, living in Maine, but they'd been estranged since he was 18. He hadn't told me because it was too painful, said they'd fought over his career, and he'd cut contact. The call was a surprise to him, too. I was hurt. Why lie about something so big? But I let it slide, thinking grief makes people weird. Then 2 days later, Ellen called again. Ryan was at work, so I answered. She was crying, saying Caleb, Ryan's brother, was in the hospital after a car accident, critical condition. I felt like I'd been punched. Ryan had a brother. He'd always said he was an only child. I pressed Ellen, who was confused, saying, "Didn't Ryan tell you about Caleb? They're twins." My head spun. Twins? I told her I'd have Ryan call her and hung up, reeling. When Ryan got home, I was livid. I demanded answers. Why hide his mom, his twin brother? He looked like a cornered animal, stammering, then admitted it. He had a twin, Caleb, identical, living in Maine. They'd fallen out years ago over family stuff, and Ryan didn't want to drag me into it. He swore he'd planned to tell me eventually. I asked why Ellen thought he knew about Caleb's accident. Ryan said she must have mixed them up, twins, right? It didn't add up, but I was too overwhelmed to push. He promised to visit Caleb in the hospital, clear things up. The next weekend, we drove to Portland, Maine to see Caleb. The hospital was sterile, grim, and Caleb was in the ICU, hooked up to machines, unconscious. He looked exactly like Ryan, same jawline, same messy hair, like a mirror. Ellen was there, a frail woman with tired eyes. She hugged Ryan, sobbing, but he was stiff, barely reciprocating. She kept calling him Caleb at first, then corrected herself, saying it was the stress. I brushed it off, but it felt wrong. While Ryan talked to the doctor, Ellen pulled me aside. She was nervous, fidgeting, and said something that chilled me. "I'm so glad you're here for Caleb. He's always needed someone like you." I froze. Caleb, I told her I was Ryan's wife, not Caleb's. She looked confused, then horrified, muttering, "Oh God, he didn't tell you." Before I could ask what she meant, Ryan came back, cutting the conversation short. Ellen clammed up and we left soon after. Caleb died that night, never waking up. Back in Boston, I couldn't shake Ellen's words. I confronted Ryan, demanding to know what she meant. He got defensive, saying she was grieving, confused, mixing them up again. But his eyes darted like he was hiding something. I couldn't sleep, replaying it all his lies about his mom, his twin, Ellen's slip. Then I found something that broke me. While Ryan was at work, I went through his stuff, something I'd never done before. In a locked box under our bed, I pried it open with a screwdriver. I found a stack of old photos and letters. One photo stopped me cold, Ryan or Caleb, with a woman I didn't know, arms around each other, smiling at a beach. On the back, in faded ink, Caleb and Jen, 2018. Another photo showed the same guy with Ellen, labeled Caleb's 25th birthday. The letters were worse, correspondence between Ryan and Caleb, dated over years, talking about the switch. Phrases like "you take Boston, I'll take Maine," "she can't know," and "keep the story straight" jumped out. My hands shook. Were they swapping lives? I called Sarah, freaking out. She came over, read the letters, and went quiet. She admitted she'd known Ryan and Caleb in college. They were notorious for pulling twin pranks, swapping classes, even dates. She thought they'd stopped after graduation, assumed Ryan had told me about Caleb. I felt betrayed. She knew and didn't say. She swore she thought I knew, that Ryan was open about it. I didn't believe her. When Ryan got home, I laid it all out, the photos, the letters, Ellen's slip. He broke down, sobbing, and confessed. He and Caleb had been swapping lives since their 20s. They'd take turns living as Ryan in Boston or Caleb in Maine, sharing jobs, apartments, even relationships. It started as a game, a way to escape their rough childhood with Ellen, who was an alcoholic. But it spiraled. When we met, I was with Caleb half the time, thinking he was Ryan. Our wedding, Caleb. Our first anniversary, Ryan. They'd planned every detail, keeping me in the dark. I felt sick. My marriage, my life, was a lie. I asked if he was Ryan or Caleb now. He swore he was Ryan, that Caleb was the one who died, but how could I trust him? I asked about the woman in the photo, Jen. He went quiet, then said she was Caleb's ex, someone they'd both dated during a switch. I kicked him out, telling him to crash with a friend. I couldn't look at him or whoever he was. What the hell do I do now? I'm living with a stranger, my husband's dead twin might have been my real husband, and I don't know who I've been loving. I'm digging for answers, but I'm terrified of what I'll find. I'll update when I know more. Stay tuned. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks and things have gotten crazier. I tracked down Jen, the woman from the photo, through social media. She lives in Portland, Maine, works as a real estate agent. I called her, pretending to be a friend of Caleb S., and she agreed to meet at a coffee shop. She was nice, mid-30s, but guarded. When I mentioned Ryan and Caleb swapping, her face went white. She admitted she'd dated Caleb for years, but they broke up in 2019 because she caught him and Ryan pulling the switch on her too. She thought Caleb was cheating, only to realize it was Ryan half the time. She cut contact, but Caleb kept reaching out, saying he wanted her back. Then the bombshell: Jen has a son, Lucas, 5 years old. She didn't say it outright, but the math checks out. Caleb, or Ryan, was the father. I asked if she'd told them. She said Caleb knew, but Ryan didn't, and she'd kept Lucas away from both to avoid the chaos. I felt like throwing up. My husband, or his twin, has a kid I didn't know about, and they were both okay with lying to me, to Jen, to everyone. I confronted Ryan. I'm still calling him that, though I don't know who he is. He swore he didn't know about Lucas, that Caleb never told him. But he admitted they'd swapped with me longer than he'd let on, sometimes for weeks at a time, splitting our life like it was a game. He said he loved me, that he was Ryan now, trying to be the man I deserved. I asked for proof, documents, anything. He showed me his driver's license, birth certificate, but those could be Caleb's for all I know. I told him to stay away until I figure this out. Sarah's been weird too. She's avoiding me, saying she's busy, but I think she knows more. I'm meeting Ellen tomorrow, she texted, saying she has answers. I'm terrified, but I need the truth. Update soon. Update 2. Meeting Ellen was like stepping into a horror movie. She invited me to her house in Maine, a rundown place smelling of stale cigarettes. She was a wreck, teary, shaking, half-drunk. She confirmed everything. Ryan and Caleb had been swapping since they were teens, a coping mechanism for her neglectful parenting. They deperfected it, same clothes, same haircut, same stories. She knew about me, knew they were both with me, but didn't stop them because she didn't want to lose her boys. Then the real gut punch. Ellen said she couldn't always tell them apart. She'd suspected Caleb was pretending to be Ryan sometimes, even with her. When I asked who died in the hospital, she sobbed, saying she wasn't sure. The accident mangled his ID, and the hospital used Ryan's name because that's what his wallet said. She thinks it was Caleb, but Ryan, or whoever's with me, hasn't acted like himself since. I asked about Lucas. She knew about him, said Caleb wanted to be a dad but was too scared to tell me, afraid it'd blow up their game. I left numb. My husband might be Caleb pretending to be Ryan, or Ryan hiding Caleb's death to keep me. I called Jake, my brother, and told him everything. He's furious, wants to confront Ryan, but I told him to wait. I hired a guy Nora recommended, to dig into their past, records, fingerprints, anything to prove who's who. I'm staying at Emily's now, avoiding Ryan. He's texting, begging to talk, but I can't face him. I found a pregnancy test in my bag, negative, thank God, but now I'm paranoid. What if I'd been pregnant? Whose kid would it be? The Pi says he's got a lead on Ryan and Caleb's old college records. I'll update when I know more. Update 3. The Pi came through, and I wish he hadn't. He found records, college transcripts, medical files, even an old police report from a bar fight in 2015. Ryan and Caleb had been swapping identities since high school, forging IDs, sharing bank accounts, even taking each other's exams. The police report was the worst. They'd both been arrested for a drunken brawl, but only one name, Ryan's, was on the file because they convinced the cops they were the same person. The Pi also got hospital records from Caleb's accident. The body had a tattoo, a small anchor on the ankle. Ryan doesn't have that tattoo. The man I'm with does. I confronted him at a park, neutral ground. He admitted it, he's Caleb. Ryan died in the accident and Caleb took his place, thinking he could be better for me. He said he loved me, that he'd been Ryan half the time anyway, so what's the difference? I screamed at him. How could he think that was okay? He slept with me, lived with me, married me as Ryan. He begged me to stay, said he'd be whoever I wanted. I walked away, shaking. Sarah finally came clean too. She'd known about the swap since college, even helped them once by lying to a professor. She didn't know they were still doing it with me but suspected something was off. She's sorry, but I'm done with her. Emily and Jake are my only support now, pushing me to file for divorce. The Pi's still digging. Turns out Caleb might have been involved in some shady side gigs, maybe even using Ryan's name for them. I'm terrified of what's next. I'm moving out, staying with Emily, and I've got a lawyer. I'll update if I survive this. Update 4. It's been a month since I learned Caleb's been living as Ryan, and I'm still a wreck. I'm at Emily's, barely sleeping, jumping at every noise. The Pi Mike called with a new lead. He found a bank account in Ryan's name, opened years ago with regular deposits, $10,000 every few months, labeled consulting. The money came from an offshore account tied to a shell company in Delaware. Mike thinks it's tied to the shady gigs he mentioned, possibly identity fraud or worse. I'm terrified. Was Caleb or Ryan involved in something criminal? Was I married to a conman? I went back to our apartment to grab clothes and found something worse. In the closet, behind a stack of Ryan's old jackets, was a locked briefcase. I broke it open with a hammer. Inside were fake IDs, 3 of them with Ryan's and Caleb's faces but different names. Evan Carter, Miles Reed, Jacob Lane. There were also burner phones and a notebook with coded entries, dates, addresses, amounts like $5,000, 612 South End. One entry mentioned Jay Handleher. Was Jay Jen or me? I called Jen, shaking. She was cagey but admitted Caleb had a side hustle in college, selling fake IDs to rich kids. She thought he'd stopped, but he'd been secretive before they split. She didn't know about the money or the briefcase but got quiet when I mentioned Jay. She hung up, saying she had to go. I'm paranoid she's hiding something or someone. Then last night a stranger showed up at Emily's door. A guy, mid-40s, rough-looking with a scar on his cheek. He asked for Ryan, said he owed him money. I played dumb, said Ryan moved, but he smirked like he knew I was lying. He left a card with a number and call me V. Emily wants me to go to the police, but what do I say? My husband's a fraud and I don't know who he is. Mike's tracing the offshore account and I'm meeting him tomorrow. I'm scared V will come back. Update soon. Update 5. I met Mike the Pi at a diner and he dropped a bomb. The offshore account is linked to a guy named Victor V. Malone, a small-time crook in Boston known for running scams. fake IDs, forged documents, even low-level money laundering. Mike thinks Ryan and Caleb were working for him, using their twin switch to pull off cons. The coded notebook entries match Victor's known drop points: warehouses, bars, parking lots. One address, a warehouse in South Boston, had a recent entry: 1:10, 2 a.m. v final job. That's next week. I couldn't sit still. Against Mike's advice, I drove to the warehouse last night just to scope it out. It was a creepy, run-down building by the docks, windows boarded up. I saw a car pull up. Jen got out. Jen. She met a guy who looked like Victor, handed him an envelope, and left. What the hell? Is she in on this? I called her, furious, demanding answers. She broke down, admitting she's been working with Victor since Caleb died. She said Caleb owed Victor money, $50,000 for a botched job, and Victor's been threatening her and Lucas, demanding she pay it off. She didn't tell me because she thought I'd expose her. But it gets worse. Jen said Caleb wasn't just selling fake IDs, he was forging documents for Victor's clients, high-end stuff like passports. Ryan was in on it too, using their twin act to confuse anyone who got close. Jen thinks Caleb kept up the switch after Ryan's death to dodge Victor, pretending to be Ryan to finish the final job. She begged me not to go to the police, said Victor's dangerous. I'm torn. Emily's pushing for the cops, but I'm scared for Jen and Lucas. Caleb's been blowing up my phone, begging to talk, saying he can explain. I agreed to meet him tomorrow in public with Mike nearby. I'm terrified he's not just Caleb, but someone deeper in this mess. The Pies staking out the warehouse for the 1:10 meeting. I'll update after I confront Caleb. Update 6. I met Caleb at a crowded cafe in Back Bay, Mike watching from a corner. Caleb looked like hell, unshaven, eyes bloodshot. I laid out everything: the briefcase, the IDs, Victor, Jen. He didn't deny it. He confessed he and Ryan started working for Victor in college, forging IDs for quick cash. It grew: passports, driver's licenses, even fake marriage certificates for rich clients dodging taxes. They used their twin swap to cover tracks, splitting the money. Caleb said he wanted out when we got married, but Ryan was hooked, and Victor wouldn't let them go. After Ryan's death, Caleb kept up the charade, thinking he could finish one last job and disappear. Then the gut punch: Caleb said he's not sure he's Caleb. The twins swapped so often, even they got confused sometimes. He thinks he's Caleb, but admitted there were times he wasn't sure. Ellen's alcoholism left their childhood a blur, and they'd lean into the confusion. He swore he loves me, that he's been Ryan for me since the accident, but I couldn't listen. I left, telling him we're done. Mike's stakeout at the warehouse went south. He saw Victor and two guys, but Jen didn't show. Someone tipped Victor off and he bolted. Mike thinks Caleb warned him, maybe to protect Jen. But here's the final twist. I found a letter in my mailbox, no sender, just a typed note. You're not safe, they're still watching. Leave Boston. Tucked inside was a photo of me and Caleb at our wedding, except it's Ryan's face, not Caleb's, edited in. I don't know who sent it or why. Emily's freaking out, saying we should move. Jake's ready to hunt Victor down. Mike's digging into the letter, but I'm paralyzed. Was Ryan alive longer than I thought? Is Caleb lying again? I'm crashing with Emily, locks changed, but I feel eyes on me. I'll update if I make it through this. Update 7. I've been a wreck, jumping at shadows, convinced Victor or someone worse is watching me. The Pie Mike traced the anonymous letter with the edited wedding photo. It came from a print shop in Somerville, paid for in cash, no cameras. But he got a lead. An employee remembered a woman matching Ellen's description: frail, nervous, mid-50s, dropping off the file. My stomach dropped. Ellen, Ryan, and Caleb's mom sent that creepy letter? Why? I drove to Maine to confront her, Emily insisting on coming for backup. Ellen's house was a mess: empty bottles, cigarette butts, curtains drawn. She looked worse than last time, eyes sunken, hands shaking. I showed her the letter and photo. She broke down, sobbing, and confessed. She sent it not to scare me, but to warn me. She said Caleb's been unraveling since Ryan's death, spiraling into the twins' old habits of blurring their identities. She thought the photo, editing Ryan's face onto Caleb's, would push me to leave him, to save me from his lies. She didn't know about Victor or the fake IDs, only that Caleb was losing himself, pretending to be Ryan. But then she dropped a bombshell. She'd found a letter from Ryan, written before his death, hidden in Caleb's old room. It was addressed to me, apologizing for the swaps, saying he loved me but couldn't stop Caleb from wanting the Boston life. Ryan wrote that he'd planned to tell me everything after the conference to end the game for good. Ellen hid it, scared it'd make Caleb worse. I demanded to see it. She handed it over, tears streaming. It was Ryan's handwriting, no doubt, and it broke my heart. He'd wanted to be honest to be my Ryan. I left, clutching the letter, feeling like I'd lost him all over again. I called Caleb, told him about the letter. He was quiet, then said he'd come to Boston to talk. I'm meeting him tomorrow with Emily there. Mike's backing off the Victor angle, says it's likely just small-time scams, nothing worth chasing. I'm still paranoid, but the real horror is my life. I loved two men, not knowing who was who, and one's gone forever. Update soon. Update 8. I met Caleb at a park near Emily's place, Emily by my side. He looked broken, unshaven, eyes red like he hadn't slept in weeks. I showed him Ryan's letter, demanded the full truth. He didn't hold back this time. He said the swapping started as kids, a way to survive Ellen's drunken rages. She'd mix them up, so they leaned into it, becoming each other when it suited them. In college, it was pranks. In their 20s, it was jobs, girlfriends, lives. With me, it was Caleb's idea. He saw me at the bar, wanted me, but Ryan was better at dating, so they played it together, splitting time as Ryan. Caleb said he fell in love with me, but Ryan did too, and they couldn't stop the game without losing me. After Ryan's death, Caleb kept up the act, thinking he could be Ryan for me for us. But he was drowning in guilt, especially about Lucas. He admitted he knew about the boy but stayed away, scared of dragging him into their mess. He swore the fake IDs were old from college, and Victor was just a guy they'd sold to once. The notebook was Caleb's, tracking odd jobs to feel alive as Ryan. He begged me to forgive him, said he'd do anything to fix it. I told him I couldn't. My trust was gone, my marriage a lie. I walked away, Emily holding me as I cried. I called Jen, needing closure. She was calmer, said she's moving to New York with Lucas, away from Victor's threats. She told Lucas about Caleb, showed him photos, but decided not to let Caleb into his life. He's too unstable. She apologized for not warning me, said she was scared for her son. I don't blame her, but it hurts. Lucas is a piece of Caleb, maybe Ryan, and I'll never know him. I'm filing for divorce, papers ready. Emily's helping me find a new place. Mike says Victor's gone quiet, likely spooked. I'm starting to feel safe, but the emptiness is worse. One more update coming. Update 9. It's been 3 months, and I'm in a new apartment in Jamaica Plain, just me and my sketchbooks. The divorce is nearly finalized. Caleb didn't fight it, signed everything, and moved to Maine to be near Ellen. He's in therapy, trying to figure out who he is without Ryan. He sent me a letter, not asking for forgiveness, just wishing me well. I didn't respond, but I kept it. Maybe one day I'll read it again. Sarah and I are done. She tried to apologize, saying she was caught in the twins' lies, but I can't trust her. Emily and Jake are my anchors. Emily's cooking me dinners, Jake's fixing up my new place. My design work is thriving. The festival merch was a hit, and I'm pitching to a record label next week. It feels good to create again, to rebuild. The horror's fading, but it's left marks. I still check my locks, still flinch at unfamiliar cars. The edited wedding photo haunts me. Who was Ryan, really? I'll never know the full truth, but I'm learning to live with it. I visited Ryan's grave last week, left a sketch of our old apartment. It was for him, the real him, whoever he was. I'm moving forward, scarred but stronger. Thanks for reading, Reddit. I don't know if I'll update again, but you've helped me survive this. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new stories.